DACA amnesty program. Former Mexican president comes out of hiding. Vincent Fox has used his social media account to assail and to criticize President Trump since before the election. So this is nothing new. He's been doing this for a while. But when he tried to slam Trump for reports that he was going to shut down the DREAM Act amnesty, he got immediate blowback. At Real Donald Trump, you're killing the real American dream. DACA is fundamental for a successful America. What's the point of ending it? So his missive tagged the account of the U.S. president saying, you're killing the real American dream. DACA is fundamental for the successful America. What's the point in ending it? So Trump made it, as you know, a campaign promise, basically that these childhood arrivals, but he's now since hinting that he might leave it in place. Nobody really knows what he's going to do, but a failed Mexican president are always the leading experts in what the real American dream is. And Donald Trump had to weigh back, and slap him back, basically saying, you're the one. You can't take of your own country. You can't root out the corruption there. Some say, what is it to you? You don't seem to want your own nationals back in Mexico. So why is this? Maybe Mexico should fix itself. How about that? Former president of Mexico spends more time trying to influence American politics than he does trying to improve his own country. And many on social media took on Fox to task for saying that the amnesty program instituted by former President Barack Obama was fundamental for the success of America. What do you feel about this? What do you think about DACA? What do you think about illegal immigrants? America was doomed to collapse under the weight of its own failure under 30 million illegal immigrants crossing over the border. The whole, again, notion of illegal kind of just makes me crazy. If you're a nation of laws and you're supposed to uphold those, and you don't, there was supposed to be ramifications. But for so many years, people really were enforcing them, and Obama certainly wasn't. However, there were ICE raids during Obama's administration, but he didn't really widely publicize what he was doing. He just went ahead and did it. But when you got millions and millions of people coming into our country illegally, costing us trillions of dollars in welfare and other services that need to be provided for illegals and then their kids, it really does drain its economy. And so for Mexico to get rid of these people, they don't have to pay for them. And because they know darn well that money's going to be sent back to Mexico, it helps their economy. And they love the money coming back to Mexico. They enjoy it. As well as the migrants that come over here and pick vegetables in California. Imagine if the Mexicans stopped picking vegetation, corn or strawberries or whatever it is that they're doing out in the fields. Imagine if they stopped doing it. It would be bad for the economy. It'd be bad for Mexico. It would be bad for them. But we like cheap vegetables, don't we? See, this thing is a political thing, folks. It's been politics, and so many folks have benefited from it, including Mexico and us, both of us. And now all of a sudden that Trump wants to tighten the bolts on this immigration thing, it's going to be a tricky thing. And for a lot of immigrants, they're going to hate Donald Trump. They're not going to like him. I think Donald Trump needs to step up to the bank of the microphones and really lay out why it is and what he's trying to do. But I don't think he's going to be able to eject tens of millions of people just like that and out of the country. I just do not see it happening. I think it's terrible. I think moving forward, we have to have some immigration reform, some thoughtful conversation to make sure that we don't encourage people to be illegal. You can see how well the amnesty program worked for Barack Obama. It didn't. Come out of the shadows. Remember? Didn't happen. Didn't work. A lot of people did not want to come out of the shadows in fear that their employers would not be able to employ them, that they would lose out and there would be raids because they're employing who? Illegal immigrants. And why? Because they're making a lot of money off them and not paying big money, and paying under the table was better for them because they were undocumented. And what's irritating for Americans and for a lot of immigrants that came over here legally is you see those signs, if you see in Los Angeles on the West Coast a lot, where it'll say illegal and unafraid. Because when you have lawmakers that don't enforce it and sanctuary cities that don't enforce it, it encourages them. And why is that? At the end of the day, why is it? It's because they are paid voters. Who do you think they're going to vote for? The party that uses them and abuses them. Think they're giving a hand up? They're actually making it worse for immigrants that are just trying to get ahead. But they don't see that with the Democratic Party. And then when the Republicans try to have some kind of meaningful discussion, and I'm not saying that what Trump is advocating here is the best idea. I feel for immigrants that come in, but we're talking specifically not of all immigrants. We're talking about the children they used to call anchor babies. But these children that were born from illegals that are assimilated in our country, the only country they've known is America, and then now giving an ejection notice from the White House within, 6 months, delaying it 6 months, and then you have to go. So I don't know if they can come back in again 6 months later if they reapply. There's just a lot of unknowns here about this thing, and it's really right now it seems to be not handled very well. Just like the whole Muslim ban wasn't rolled out as methodically as it should have been. And though I supported certain elements of it, it wasn't rolled out correctly. Again, if anybody in the White House communication staff, isn't it amazing that you could work for a company doing communications, and yet out of the White House, where you think that you would have the top communication specialists roll this stuff out, sometimes they do the poorest job. Trump needs to have a speech where he steps up to a microphone and really lays it out, where he says he loves the Dreamers, but I want to kick you out. It just doesn't sound right. And there's going to be a lot more. I mean, Trump Tower, there are a bunch of folks rioting, or not rioting, I shouldn't say that, protesting, tons of them coming out, thousands right now in Manhattan, very upset about the whole thing, making their statement. There will be more cities, more of these things taking place. Trump would do well to be able to step up to microphones and explain himself intelligently about this whole thing, and to say, look, he realizes the valuable contribution to these dreamers in our country. We do not need further divisions here. We have way too many problems right now in our country to be, I mean, come on, look at Charlottesville and all this nonsense. Now we're going to deal with the illegals. Come on. This is just, again, I think bad politics and bad thinking. They need to have a better problem. And as Bush W would say, we're going to have some strategery. They need to get back into the Oval Office and have a meeting with lawmakers. And even Paul Ryan says, you shouldn't do this. This is not a good idea. Believe me, the Dems are already digging in on this one. And Trump will have a major fight. And you got to pick your fights. For one, it does irritate me. Just for the record, I don't like where people do have to do it the right way, and then they see people taking advantage of the generosity and the goodness. But the problem is, okay, you got cities that are welcoming, like de Blasio, California, I mean, all over the United States where cities open up their doors and they allow safe haven and they allow all these services. They open up their big pocketbooks and they allow safe passage and safe harbor to all these folks. And here's the issue. You and I need help. We can't get it because there's no money left. But they get all the things that they want. There's just not a lot of fairness there, ladies and gentlemen. Not a lot of fairness. And if you think about it, we don't do a very good job of taking care of our own. And that's the problem with snowflakes, with a lot of bleeding heart liberals. They think they're doing good work, but they don't worry about who's writing the check, and they don't worry about who has to pay the bills. Now, we were talking about minimum wage. What do you think is going to happen to businesses? What do you think has already happened to businesses as a result of all of this? It further hurts the workforce long term for any good jobs for anybody. And to try to get ahead like that is really next to impossible for many folks that come here. Again, immigrants, a lot of them should feel used because of the system. Democrats and Republicans need to work through this thing. It's a very important issue. These are human lives, and these people are in our system. They've been paid. They've been taken care of. And to pull the carpet out just like that is a bad thing and not a good thing. Moving forward, we have to have a better plan than that. That's not going to work. I'm not a politician. I just listen to what they have to say. I just think that this is a common sense approach. This is not Democrat. This is not Republican. It just, to me, seems to be a reasonable thing. So I just wanted to give you my opinion on all of this. The former top campaign lawyer for failed Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton is behind yet another lawsuit against the state voter identification laws. It's the latest in a series of challenges that stem back from 2015. The League of Women Voters and 3 individuals are suing the state of New Hampshire in an attempt to block a law on voter registration that includes requirements such as providing a driver's license to prove an individual's primary residence in the state and will be living in the state for a substantial time. The lawsuit is supported by Priority USA, the largest liberal super political action committee that backed Clinton's campaign. Priorities received $9.5 million from Soros through the 2016 election cycle. George Soros. Mark Ellis, a partner at the Washington, D.C. based law firm Perkins Cole, and Clinton's former top campaign lawyer, is listed in an attorney on the New Hampshire lawsuit. Elias joined the board of Priorities early this year when the group absorbed Every Vote Counts, a nonprofit created by Clinton allies to mobilize African Americans and Latino voters. That group in the process of building a one-stop inventory on voting measures that will be shared with other liberal groups. Elias was behind a number of the lawsuits that were filed against voter identification laws in recent years. And now you know what's going on there. Interesting. Yep, Clinton's former top campaign lawyer behind the New Hampshire voter ID lawsuit. Isn't it just really conniving how the liberals work? And yet all of that, they still lost. They still lost. God. And just to think Hillary Clinton's going to, what happened? Oh, my God. Can you believe it? Anybody that would buy that book, if you don't know what happened right now, I mean, I could just save you some money now. And just so bizarre how folks in Canada, they're going to pay $20,000. I'm not even kidding, on her book tour to sit in a VIP section and let Hillary Clinton read some excerpts out of her book. It's tell you